It's 2020 SIX and we've just received City Skylines 2's first developer update of the year. And this one is especially interesting because it comes from Cities 2's new developer, Iceflake Studios. The new Finnish team helicoptered in to replace Colossal Order at the end of 2025. We've heard from Iceflake before, of course, back late last year, where they said that they had already been working hard and getting into things like the game's code and finding solutions to its many problems, emphasizing bug fixing, accessibility, and the UI as their initial priorities. But that's not why you're here. You want to know about today's update, the promised January 2026 developer update that they committed to last year. Here, Iceflake have ironically decided to use the update to focus on the one area outside of road tools of the game that I really recently argued needs the least amount of work, the visuals. If you missed that, my argument is essentially that Cities 2 looks fantastic on a high-end system, and I love it as a city painter, but it lacks in most other areas. Performance, stability, logistics, broken traffic, bikes, beta tools, the list went really on and on. That being said, I do like what they're introducing here in today's update, with that focus on visuals over mechanics. They aim to release more developer updates, by the way, before the patch rolls out, probably in late February. But what's changing then? What's changing with city painting? First up today, well and truly leaning into the city painting thing, Iceflake are baking in the Recolor mod into the base vanilla game, essentially allowing us to set custom colors on assets. Initially, this will be limited to the many buildings, some props and vehicles in the game, though they'll eventually be rolling it out so we can have pink palm trees, plants, and many more props down the line. I am, don't get me wrong, very glad to see this function making its way into the base game. It'll be a big help, particularly in fairly generic-looking zones and for vanilla builds. The next big change has been dubbed the quote-unquote Extreme Makeover UI Edition. Their goal is to make it clearer to understand, the UI that is. Much like the entire game, they stress here that this is a work in progress, as they tease a very quick look at this Extreme Makeover. They say that they've streamlined the onboarding process, beep boop, and changed some icons. The toolbar down the bottom is perhaps the most noteworthy change at this time, and it has seen some clearer changes to its visuals, modernizing perhaps, with the demand bars in the bottom left corner in particular being a focus here. The side-by-side seems perfectly fine to me. Yeah, makes sense. Looks a little better. Perhaps, though, more of a minor glow-up than an extreme makeover, to be frank. Iceflake then used the remainder of their first city corner, the new reframing of their takes on the developer updates, to chat about lighting and weather. The second half of this very brief update is all about lights and fog, baby, lights and fog. In the Turn the Lights On section, they say they've been working on daytime and nighttime lighting, particularly mentioning in the text that improvements have been made to nighttime visibility, which can absolutely be a problem. I wish that they'd make a mention of the nighttime lighting here too, like the actual street lighting and building lights. They are incessantly buggy. Though they don't actually give us any proof in the pudding here. There are no pictures or visuals to show us the nighttime lighting. Instead, we see the second change here. They're balancing the amount of clouds you might see, as clearly demonstrated by Mountain Village before with clear skies, compared to and after, with the weather being slightly cloudy. It's funny, you know, I like the stuff they're talking about here, I really do. The headline change, baking in the ability to recolor buildings, is particularly great. Like, it really is. But I also feel a bit disappointed here, and somehow I also kind of feel like I'm the only one. Am I the only one who feels this way? I mean, I'm obviously not a yes man when it comes to Cities 2. That will be no surprise to you if you've been around here for a while. But the first date here with Iceflake feels really undercooked. The promised January update is here tiny. This could have easily been like 2 paragraphs. A tweet, X post even. Literally. Let's get to the rest of it though, for they also tease that they're working on an in-game encyclopedia. Though that won't be in this patch. It's an interesting thing to choose to tease out of all the possible things, but more info is always good, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Lastly, they go into 2 very sensible visual updates for map climates, weather more broadly. There'll be more snow in snowy, northern, cold climates compared to tropical ones. I can't argue with that. That makes sense. And snow will also settle on lots of surfaces within the game, something I noticed again recently as I was making that Cities 2 video that I published the other day. I was looking at the snowy footage and I thought, yeah, it does look a bit weird. Yep. So they're introducing a great visual improvement here that'll make it seem less like every road and driveway has this kind of permanent 100% coverage underfloor heating thing going on. The snow will look more natural, or maybe that's not a great way of putting it. I mean, they've teased what it looks like. It covers more, definitely. And I suppose by extension that makes it look a little bit more natural. Sadly, there was no mention of how dynamic this will be, or of snowplows, or really any other interactions between cities and snow. Also, I'm really sorry, I hate to be that guy sitting here in the editing room after I thought I was done, but I noticed that the car undercover here is covered in snow. And I just can't help but feel that the bushes out front, right, those shrubs, no snow on them at all. Yet the car in the garage, or the carport rather, is covered in snow. And I just can't help but feel that maybe this is not quite as polished as it could be. Before I wrap up with my terrible opinion here, let's take a look at what's next. In the last 2 paragraphs of the update, that's where we hear the good stuff. Coming soon to an update near you will be improved ground textures, and the ability to place trees closer together and to toggle their age. That last one, something I could have sworn was already in the vanilla game. Perhaps the most interesting thing said all day here, though, is actually truly about what's coming next. They're planning another City Corner 2 of who knows how many, developer diary, right, which details the mechanical changes coming to the game, and other future endeavors they have in store for us. Like a massive catch-all, and the stuff that I think we really needed to hear now 2 years and 3 months into Cities 2's overall life cycle, and over 2 months since the announcement was made that Iceflake were taking over and working hard and looking at the code, so on and so forth. This will include new game aspects, and that, my friends, brings me full circle back around to a slightly familiar taste of disappointment. But let me be crystal clear for the people in the back. The changes that we've talked about are good. I like them. Recolor is particularly noteworthy, though I'm sure some of you are also excited about extra clouds or snow falling where snow falls. To me, this feels like a wasted first date, though. Almost a panicked, rushed, written update. It's as if they ran out of time or manpower to meet the promise of providing an update in January, over 2 months after the change was announced. And so instead of saying, hey, this is what we've inherited, here's what we're thinking about doing to fix it, here's our broad plan, this is what makes us different. To start rebuilding trust, they instead said something like, pretty clouds, snowy driveways. To go back to the first date analogy, it's a little like they promised a little bit of whining and dining with me and instead took me to a hot dog stand. It's not that I don't like a dog, it's just thoroughly unimpressive to me that they couldn't plan ahead enough to make a proper dinner reservation. And for now, it's more wait and see. There are surely plenty of good things coming, or at least the opportunity for them to come. They're just not wanting to talk about them yet, I guess. Overall, today we've heard good stuff. Ironically, all focused on the one area of the game that I thought was already pretty good, the way it looks. Though I definitely think this first City Corner was interesting, it feels largely like a wasted opportunity. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it because I know that I'll never be the first place you'll be able to go to get your Cities 2 breaking news. Turn around on my end and maybe a little bit of patience on yours. So thank you again for your company. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.